The 7-Minute Report with Jamaal only on Clutch TV.
Heads up, eyes front. This is the 7-Minute Report with me, Jamaal only on Clutch TV. Whether sports, whether insight, or whether culture, each segment is only 7 minutes. Man, let's go. One thing I have talked about to myself for sure, maybe even ChatGPT, and maybe loosely some other people, but never publicly and never on my platform. Let's talk about Tracy McGrady. Let's talk about his recent comments regarding championships and Kobe Bryant. First off, was he being disrespectful to Kobe? No. Tracy and Kobe were brothers. Family is different. You always have the right to talk about your family. Even if it's in a disrespectful manner and somebody may speak up, that's one thing. I don't think he was being disrespectful. I think he was being honest. This is so for anybody who hasn't heard yet, Tracy McGrady basically alluded to the fact that Shaquille O'Neal was so dominant in those early 2000s that even if you put somebody like Tracy next to him, they could have won titles. At the time, there was a large theory, and it wasn't about Kobe not truly being the perfect sidekick or potentially a number one guy himself. It was honestly just focused on Shaq. He's so damn dominant, you could put really any shooting guard next to him, and he's going to produce probably a championship. If you take the details out of it, it looks that way in 2006 because Dwyane Wade manned up and they won a title. But the truth is, Dwyane Wade carried Shaq in that series. So you can't say the Shaq starter pack, as they would say, like the Drake starter pack. You get a feature from Drake, you go platinum, you get fame, you get notoriety. The Shaq starter pack didn't work that way. Dwyane Wade was the reason they won that title, but we all know Shaq landing on Miami was the reason they ever even started talking about titles. So it is, but it isn't that. Was Tracy McGrady good enough to win next to Shaq, even though, in my opinion, Tracy wasn't Kobe? I'll say yeah. I'll say yeah. I don't think it would have been a dynasty. I think it may have been one. I think Ray Allen might have been able to win one with Shaq. I got to think of some other shooting guards. But, the truth of the matter is the Orlando Magic have a 30 for 30. I think it's called Magic Time or Blue Magic, something like that. I love ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries. And Shaq is very good at marketing. And what he said on there, sitting next to, of course, Anthony, Penny Hardaway, he was like, me and Penny were Shaq and Kobe before Shaq and Kobe. I disagree with that. Penny was potentially a great player, but unfortunately he got hurt. He was a downhill slashing point guard who could still pass as well, but wasn't a great outside shooter. I don't think Penny would have ever been Kobe. Healthy or not, he would have never been Kobe. And so that's where the idea of Shaq being good enough that you could stick any guard next to him kind of becomes true but not true. It really depends on who you're talking about. And it is possible, but just not 100%. I think TMAC could have got one. I think Ray Allen could have got one. If Orlando would have stayed together long enough for Chicago to implode, maybe they would have popped out of the East. But I still think there was magic to Kobe and Shaq. I do. Stephen A. Smith was honest with Tracy McGrady. He confronted him. He said, look, you were up 3-1 on Detroit. Remember that? You was up 3-1 and y'all lost. You were supposed to win that. You couldn't win one of them games. And Tracy was like, oh, Kobe was never up 3-1? And it was like, are we really calling out Kobe from beyond the grave? Are we really doing this? But I really do think people protect Kobe a lot. They protect Michael a lot. And this is before Kobe left us. This is before that. People tend to protect Michael and Kobe. And the truth of the matter is Kobe has blown a 3-1 lead. The truth is Kobe did ask for a trade on public TV, but people criticize LeBron team hopping. The truth of the matter is Tracy's right. Wait a minute. He blew a 3-1 lead after Shaq, ironically, but he can always forever and a day say for 8 years he had him. And Tracy was honest. He's never had that team. He tried to team up with Gary. He tried to team up with Grant Hill. Grant Hill was hurt for 4 years and then ended up leaving. That didn't work. So he carried a team alone for a long time. Doc Rivers would not agree to allow Tim Duncan's family to ride the bus with the players, so Tim Duncan re-signed with the Spurs and never went to Orlando. That's right. If you never knew that, Tim Duncan was almost as good as gone to Orlando. Ladies and gentlemen, in a big alternate universe, in a what-if scenario, it was possible for us to get a Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Tim Duncan team. And even if Grant Hill stays hurt, Tim Duncan and Tracy McGrady would have done some damage, especially in the East, because after the 80s, the East has become the far weaker conference. It's rebounded some, but even after looking at the trades the Celtics just made, I just did a video about that. You'll see it soon. I mean, the East is going to be weak all over again. I hate to say it that way. It's going to be the Cavs, and can Donovan Mitchell really be the guy? It's going to be the Pacers, and can they go to a third straight Eastern Conference Finals at least, even if they don't make the finals, to kind of do the same thing Detroit did in the early 2000s and solidify them as an Eastern Conference powerhouse? Or it's going to be the Knicks. Can Brunson and Cat really get it done? And that's not bad, but that's a lot different than the West. Golden State, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond. The Lakers, for what it matters, LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Hachimura. The Wolves, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle. Who else in the West would I say is a real contender? Houston now with Kevin Durant. Houston with Kevin Durant. Denver is a good 2 pieces away from really competing again. Like I just named 6 teams compared to maybe 3 in the East. You know what I'm saying? So the truth of the matter is, if we could have saw Tim Duncan and Tracy McGrady, man, that would have been something. That would have been something. Tim won 4 championships, 5. He won 5 championships coming out of the West. Can you imagine Tim Duncan in the East? It would have been special, man. It would have been spectacular. But all in all, I agree with Tracy McGrady. There is something to the Shaq starter pack. Put a guard next to him and you can win. But honestly, in my opinion, there's magic to Kobe and Shaq.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to watch more of the 7-Minute Report with Jamaal Bethia, only on Clutch TV.